What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got Jorge Masvidal talking about life after beating up Colby Covington, Kevin Lee on Joe Rogan, Robert Whittaker on his last fight, and much more. The head of BKFC looks to make a move to sign Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou isn't exactly a free agent, and while it's unclear how this situation with the UFC will play out, you better believe that there could be an enormous amount of suitors for the heavyweight champion should he leave the promotion. The Cameroon native is currently sidelined for what's likely to be the rest of 2022 due to major knee surgery, but he's already fought the last fight in his current deal this past January with his first title defense, a unanimous decision win over Cyril Gane at UFC 270. Leading up to the fight, Ngannou made it known that he was not happy with his contract, not just the money, but the clauses and restrictions. He feels that, aside from more money, he should be allowed to fight pro boxing outside of the promotion. It's unclear if the UFC would come to an agreement with Ngannou, but in the event that they don't, the head of the BKFC, Dave Feldman, is ready to open his wallet for Ngannou's services. This is what Feldman told Ariel Helwani when he was asked about the possibility of going after Ngannou.
I'm not sure if he's out of that window yet, but we're definitely making a play for him. You know, at that stage, you're talking about money, right? And if we can back that kind of money up, we're in the game.
No doubt that Ngannou would be a massive target for any major fight promotion, as he's a massive draw. But also, who wouldn't want to sign away the UFC heavyweight champion from the world's biggest promotion? Eddie Hearn, a well-known boxing promoter, had previously said that he believes the UFC will eventually capitulate and get Ngannou anything he wants so that he doesn't walk away with the heavyweight belt. But what do you think? Would you be open to seeing Ngannou fight in a promotion like the BKFC? And in the event that he does not come to terms with the UFC, which promotion should he sign with? Jon Jones airs out his thoughts amid embarrassing video and split with fiancée. Jon Jones is sharing his emotions during this tumultuous week. First, the body cam footage of his well-documented arrest was released by Las Vegas PD and shows a really distraught Jones headbutting a car, being argumentative, and insulting authorities. This was related to his detainment for alleged battery domestic violence at a Las Vegas hotel in September of last year. Then, not long after the footage was released, Jones confirmed on Twitter that his fiancée had left him 2 months ago, and this week she made it 100% clear that it was over. The two were together for the better part of the past decade, which Jones had previously stated. Now, days after both, this is what he tweeted with regards to the footage. LOL, I was hoping that video got lost in some files somewhere. Then he followed that up with this reply when someone asked him how he was doing. I can deal with embarrassment. It's the loneliness that gets me. Taking things one day at a time. And in another tweet about his haters, this is what Jones said about where he's at right now in his life. No way, my guy, the story is far from over. I'm wise enough to know that we all go through seasons in life. I've had many great ones and several bad ones. I'm excited for the next one, about to be heavyweight champion of the world, capable of so many things. Loved. At the moment, Jones continues to prepare for a potential heavyweight fight in the UFC, which would be his debut in the division, just 2 years after last stepping into the octagon to defend his light heavyweight title against Dominic Reyes. Not long after that win, he vacated the title to move up in weight, and it remains to be seen what the promotion does from here. What do you think about Jones airing all this out? And what are your thoughts on the whole situation that Jones finds himself at the moment? If he gets past Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal believes he deserves a title shot. The chances of Colby Covington or Jorge Masvidal getting another shot at the welterweight belt is not really known yet, given that both men fought and lost to champion Kamaru Usman twice. Both have lost a decision to Usman, and both have also been knocked out by the Nigerian Nightmare. But if you ask Jorge Masvidal, in his mind, he should get the next title shot after Leon Edwards if he beats Colby. His reasoning is simple, and he related in an interview with MMA Junkie.
He's got the #1 ranking, so it's got to do something, right? Because those rankings, as much bullshit as I think that they are, he does have the #1, so then there's no denying me. If I'm #1, there's no denying me, and that's it. You know, what has to happen has to happen.
The two fighters were once best friends, but have turned into bitter enemies, especially after Colby allegedly refused to pay Masvidal's striking coach after a fight. Meanwhile, the champion, Kamaru Usman, is still healing up from his broken hand injury that he suffered in his November bout against Colby. But as soon as he's able to, the UFC is planning to have him fight Leon Edwards sometime this year. This is interesting since Masvidal was originally supposed to fight Leon Edwards at UFC 269 this past December before an injury forced Gamebred out of the fight and was handed the opportunity to fight Colby instead. Do you agree with Masvidal that he should get the next shot at the belt if he beats Colby? Don't forget to take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest fight news. Robert Whittaker believes he took 3 rounds out of 5 in last middleweight championship fight. Former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker admits he was disappointed when he heard Bruce Buffer announce Israel Adesanya as the winner of the UFC 271 main event earlier this month. While Whittaker did do what many believed he would do going into that fight, go for takedowns and mix it all in with a more careful striking game plan, it wasn't enough to sway the judges. He certainly did better than his first outing against Adesanya when he was knocked out in the second round. But Whittaker, for his part, believes that he had this match in the bag by the end of the 5th round. This is what Whittaker had to say during a recent interview on Submission Radio.
I thought I at a minimum won 3 rounds. That's why I wasn't fighting with a sense of a guy with his back against the wall. But yeah, it is what it is. I think every time we threw hands, I got the better exchange of the strikes as well as the introduction of the takedowns.
What do you think? Do you agree with Whittaker that he took 3 rounds out of this last fight, or do you disagree? Let us know in the comments below. Is Chaos and Gamebred's rivalry real? Despite the fact that the UFC 272 main event is a highly anticipated fight, being sold as perhaps the biggest non-title grudge match in the promotion's history, there are some people calling BS on the whole thing. Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal were best buddies, teammates, training partners, and housemates. The two played it up for the cameras for years, training together after sessions were done and supporting one another in their fights. But that was then, and this is now. And for the past few years, the two have been at each other's throats in the media, talking smack to one another, posting photos of family members, and more. Some are now questioning the authenticity of this rivalry. Case in point, here's what UFC bantamweight Brian Kelleher surmised in a recent tweet. Could it be possible that Colby and Jorge are working together with this whole thing? Here's another tweet where Colby and Jorge's beef is questioned. This only reinforces my theory that these two have been playing the media like a fiddle. The beef's not real. They secretly root for each other and are just maximizing their paychecks, and good for them. They came from the bottom, broke as a joke, and they're doing great right now. But with some fans and fighters getting suspicious over whether this beef is real or not, Javier Mendez, the owner and head coach of AKA in California, another world-class fighting gym that has produced several world champions, he gave his thoughts on the whole thing. While Mendez admits that he wasn't there when the beef fermented, he did have some words to say in regards to fighters going rogue. This is what he said in a recent interview with Helen Yee and the Schmo.
When you have a rogue fighter, which in this case was Colby, the best case might have been to bring him on board first, and if you couldn't come to a good resolution, then maybe ask him it's best, maybe he might go somewhere else. I don't know what happened in that case because I wasn't there, but it definitely causes good drama. Colby's a great talker.
Still, given the fact that this whole drama unfolded at American Top Team in Florida, where there are no shortage of eyeballs and fighters from the UFC, some have been privy to a lot of what's been going down. Dustin Poirier is one of those guys. He's seen the whole thing happen in front of him for years. This is what Poirier said about the beef and about Colby turning heel.
He was winning fights but wasn't getting the attention. Then he kind of started switching, and at the beginning of it, it was kind of funny, kind of cool, but there was a point where he started believing all that craziness and started being that person, and that's when things started changing.
In the previous interview with MMA Junkie, Masvidal actually detailed how the beef started, at least on his end. And for him, it was when Colby started talking smack about his former friend, Tyron Woodley, and his one-time college roommate, Jon Jones. The Woodley thing in particular became a sore spot, as Masvidal had seen how Woodley tried to help Colby early in his career, and how he was dumped by Chaos once he had no use for him. Masvidal says that he was already separating himself from Colby before he stiffed his striking coach following a fight and didn't pay him, which is what led to the intensity of the rivalry. But what do you think? Do you believe the beef is real? And at this point, do you care? And who do you have your money on for the UFC 272 main event? Kevin Lee gives his 2 cents over Joe Rogan controversy. Former UFC lightweight contender Kevin Lee is preparing to make his debut in not only a new promotion in Eagle FC, but also in the brand new 165-pound division as he goes up against Diego Sanchez on March 11th in Miami, Florida. Lee, who was released by the UFC late last year, understands how brutal people can be online and on social media, and has caught a lot of flack from MMA fans over the years. This is one of the main reasons why he stands with Joe Rogan during the controversy over not only the N-word video compilation posted online, but also accusations of misinformation regarding COVID-19. Rogan has been the target of backlash over COVID claims when he had on 2 doctors on separate episodes of his podcast talking about the disease and the vaccine, which some deemed as misinformation, and it prompted Neil Young and Joni Mitchell to pull what music they could have off of Spotify. Then, a week later, a video showing several times in which Rogan would say the N-word with no context was posted online. While Rogan has received overwhelming support from the fight community, this is what Kevin Lee had to say.
But one thing we can't do, I think, is turn our back on each other. Even when you do like make little mistakes or slip up, that comes in everybody's life. At some point, I'm gonna say some dumb. I have said some dumb. And it's real easy for people to write people off, and I think that's just a f***ed up way to be, and it's just a f***ed up culture.
What do you make of Kevin Lee's comments here? Thank you so much for joining us today and catching up on all things MMA. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.